This is the Modern Conservative Podcast with John Harvey.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Harvey, and this is the Modern Conservative Podcast. I'd like to welcome you all to another great, exciting Utah-based episode. First of all, I want to give a shout out to IronsightBC.com, America's newest best coffee country on the planet. The other boys don't exist. I want to talk about something that's been going on in my state, and it's called the election aftermath. In Utah here, we've been having problems with our legislators and actually our elections. There is no integrity in Utah elections anymore, at least from the perspective that I see it, and a lot of us in the state that are voters see it. I mean, you barely can tell the difference between a Democrat, a rhino, and a Biden rhino. Hell, they're one of the same, I think. Interesting. But I want to talk to you about, things that are going on in our state and we're having an issue with. There is no transparency in the state of Utah. There is absolutely no transparency. And whatever they're transparent on, it's an illusion. I want to talk about something that I spoke on a few days ago, actually a couple of weeks ago. We have this thing called SB 54 in the state of Utah, for you guys that are outside of the state. And it's causing problems for us here as voters, not just as elected officials that are running for higher seats, or just the grassroots men and women running for office. SB 54 is something that was voted on, I think it started in 2012. And it was designed to circumvent the caucus system or the convention if you lost in convention, which actually just happened to Spencer Cox here in Utah. He really got his ass handed to him. And I have to say that he really got his ass handed to him. And this time, for me at least, as a guy that's kind of new to politics, I mean, I've only been into politics for 4 years. Before politics, I was a so-called Democrat, maybe, because I didn't give a shit about anything politically. That's what most Democrats do. They don't give a shit. They just exist in politics. They don't live politics. And they don't educate themselves on why they should be a Democrat or versus a Republican or a conservative. Because I consider them three different genres as far as political events or political parties in our state. Utah has this thing, like I mentioned before, SB 54. So all it does is simply this. It says, look, if you get your ass kicked in convention, you can gather signatures, and those signatures will carry you on to the primaries. Even though you got your ass kicked and the state doesn't want you for the delegates, you still get to stay in the competition. Basically, what you're saying is, screw you delegates, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to go get signatures, and then I'm going to stay in the primary, and then I'm going to win the election from the primaries, even though you got your ass kicked in convention. And I say this once again, that actually happened this year to Spencer Cox. For those of you who don't understand SB 54, Spencer Cox will not be the governor next year. He would not be the governor in Utah. Now, Utah has 3 different elections. You have the caucus system, then you have the primary, and then you have the general. There's so many ways for a loser to stay in the game, which is unfair to those guys who don't have a lot of money. See, SB 54 was done because most of the incumbents have the donors. Most of the incumbents have already been bought out. So on average, it costs anywhere from $35 to $40 to get a legitimate signature approved as far as auditing. So what that means is these guys will hire a company. This company will go out and knock on doors, and they would charge you $40 a signature. Verifiable signature, so they say. But here's the problem with SB 54. There is no way you can audit the signatures if you're suspicious of, for example, Cox never getting enough verified signatures. How do you check? We can't check. There's no way to know unless you're doing what Phil Lyman is doing, having to jump through hoops just to audit the signatures. SB 54, it makes the game rigged. And if you say anything other than that, you're a damn idiot. The game is rigged. For those who have money that can gather signature, the game is rigged. You could be a grassroots guy right now, go in the convention, kick the incumbent's ass, and still lose the election in the primary because he gathered signatures. And that's what we have right now in our state. Spencer Cox is not the true governor. Well, in this term, yes. But in the next term, you can't say he's the legitimate governor. You can't say that because we can't verify anything. And there's no public access to it. So today I went to a hearing that it was Phil Lyman and Natalie Clausen. They were wanting to audit, see the signature list. And I'm going to go through this pretty quickly because it was a long meeting and I had to leave. So I'm going to speak from the perspective of when I was there for an hour. I walked into the room. Actually, let me go back even further. Now, I've been in the state building many times. This is not the Capitol. This is Department of Public Safety, downtown. That's on 47. It's on 4315 South, 2700 West, and that's in Taylorsville. So I walk into the room. Sorry, once again, I actually know. I get out of my car, and I say to myself, why in the hell are there so many highway patrolmen there? That is not normal. That is not normal. And then I realized to myself, it's because Cox already has his hands in the game already. People, you got to understand this, how this game works in Utah. This building usually maybe only have one or two highway patrolmen on the main floor. And that's your security for the motor vehicles registration and the DMV, driver's license. But today, I counted 11 of them. 11 highway patrolmen. And what's ironic was I recognized them from the Capitol. So I was telling to a friend of mine, Kish North, I said to Kish, look how many highway patrolmen are here. This is not normal. I've been down there many, 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 many times in the past year alone registering vehicles. And so I'm standing in line, and now I'm a thinker. I've got nothing else to do but to think. So I'm standing in line, and I'm thinking, the game is already rigged. It's already rigged. The problem is the people that are standing in line don't understand. It's rigged before you ever got to the building. Now, mind you, so I gradually get my way in. I sign in and everything, stand against the back wall, and there's a gentleman standing beside me whom I didn't know. And there's a few ladies that was there as well that I didn't know. And she says, how do you think it's going to go? I said, I'll tell you in about 10 minutes. So the meeting begins, and right off the bat, Phil Lyman and his team are speaking. Everything looks good. The presentations were on point. I'm thinking, okay, I like Natalie when she spoke. Absolutely fantastic job. I'm thinking at the time, okay. I'm kind of liking this shit. I'm kind of liking this. They've done their facts, not your typical Facebook fact check, but they did the real fact check. And, after Natalie spoke, it went over to the opposing side. Now, on the opposing side, I think he was the county attorney for Washington County here in Utah. That is St. George, Harrigan, Laverton, Orderville, and other towns, small towns such as those. He started talking. And I'm the kind of guy, I can see what my people brought to the table. That's Phil Lyman. I understand their side of the story. But what a lot of people don't do, they don't listen to the other side of the story, the opposing side. So I started listening to this gentleman, and he was saying everything that I did not want to hear. For example, the exclusions as to why they don't have to show you the signatures. And one of four of those reasons that this code gives them where they're exempt from showing the signature was investigations. Investigations. So I said to the other guy that was standing beside me, I said, bingo. I said, this game is already over with. He says, why do you say that? I said, watch how the conversation goes. They're going to use the investigation portion of the code to say, we're in the middle of investigation, therefore we cannot show you the signatures because it would compromise our investigation. Question to them was, how far are you in your investigation? He says, we are at the infant state. So you're at the infant state. So what he's really telling you, we've got more important things to deal with than this investigation. Therefore, we don't know when it's going to officially really start because we don't have the manpower, which he could have found the manpower if he really wanted the truth. He could have sent it to another. He's the county top cop. He could have sent it to another city. He could send it to some prosecutors. He could send it to a number of different agencies who could have done the investigation. Hell, Highway Patrol could have done it, but they're all at the Capitol, all at this building, I should say. So we're standing in there talking, and and this lady beside me she was saying to me, she said, do you really think they're not going to vote in our favor? I said, I am 100% sure they're not going to vote in our favor. 100% sure. She says, but how do you know? I said, listen, and I literally said that. I said, you people need to realize something here in Utah. You're in the hen house right now. You are in the hen house right now, but you let the fox control the meeting. She says, what do you mean by that? I says, think about something. Every one of those people you see on that panel work for the same two people you're trying to get rid of. They are their bosses. What do you think they're going to do? What do you think they're going to do? You see all these cops in here? Now, this is me speaking to her as well. And the same gentleman was in the conversation. I said, you see all these cops in here? That's not normal. The fox is controlling the hen house, but the hens don't know it. I said, that's the problem with Utah. You got to learn your position of power and vulnerabilities. Now, this would may be great for an appeal process. This may be mediation. So the courts can say, well, they tried this. They tried to go through the state. They tried grammar. All of that was not successful. They did mediation. They went to the appeal for transparency hearing, and they lost. Therefore, now we're in the state courts. But here's a problem with the state appeal courts. They're appointed by the governor. How do you think that's going to go? How do you think that's going to go? That's not going to go in your favor. Now, we all know the first problem with SB 54, for those are from other states that are listening to me right now. SB 54, like I said, it's an election process in which you can gather signatures and circumvent the convention. Now, here's what's funny. You don't even have to go to convention. As a matter of fact, my thoughts are, if you gather signature Why do you need to be in the convention anyway? If you're gathering signatures, don't go to the convention. You've already entered the primary. So, for example, if 10 people gather signatures and they met the minimum requirement, there's 10 people now in the primary. 10 people in the primary. Just because they gather signature. Now, don't hold me to that one, but I think that's how it goes. If you gather signatures and you meet the minimum requirement, you're automatically in the primaries. So I am assuming you can have 10 people if that was the case, hypothetically, if that was the case. I'm not exactly sure on that one, but I'll get back to you on that one because I just thought about that as we're having conversations because I really don't write notes down. I just speak from, off my brain because I'm lazy that way. But SB 54 is going to be a problem, and it's going to stay a problem for the grassroots movement in the state of Utah. Because once, like I said earlier, once you enter the political realm, you don't have the money as like, the top seats, like the United States Senator, United States Congressman, your governor, your Speaker of the House, the President of the Senate. You don't have that kind of money. Especially even if it's just a senator who's been in office for 20 years, there's a reason why he's there for 20 years. It's not necessarily because he's so great. A lot of times it's because he plays the game. A lot of times it's because he plays the political game that they need to play to stay in power and gain more wealth, even in Utah. And if you think you politicians in the state of Utah don't make a lot of money by being a politician in Utah, you are absolutely wrong. This political game is not about you, people. It's not about you. Only time they kiss your ass is when they need something. But as citizens, we always need something from them, and it's a struggle to get it from them. All I say is Utah from this point on, vote Democrat. Because at the end of the day, a screwing is a screwing. At least with the Democrat, you know who's screwing you. And it's to be expected. Now, do I want Democrats? Let me clear something. Do I want Democrats to run our state? Oh, hell no. But what I want is Republicans to act like Republicans. I want my senator to act like a Republican conservative senator. Not one that thinks he needs to walk the line on both sides of the fence. That is not what we need. And I'm so sick and tired of hearing about SB 54. We got to do something about it. Now, actually, here's something I want to talk about before I even forget. SB 54. So the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, they are private organizations. Now, keep that in mind, people. They are private organizations. Just like the Libertarians, just like the Independents, they are private organizations. So I want you to think about something, and this is something that we should talk about in our state SEC. How is the Utah legislation can tell a private organization, we're going to create a law called SB 54, so your organization has to comply with signature gathering? How does the state law, how does that have to do with anything with the state? The Republican Party is a private party. Signature gathering in our party should be something that the party decides to do. And it should not be a state law. Now, I know why the state done it, because they don't think people are smart enough to figure this one out. Imagine what I could do if I'd been in politics for 10 years. Because a lot of things that people are not pushing, that I try to push and they're not thinking about, because the people in our state want to keep doing the same old crap over and over and over again. I keep telling people, think outside of the box. Do not think like the ones before you that have been trained to play this game. You think you're 2 moves ahead in the chess game? These guys up on the hill, they're 5 moves ahead of you. Because they react to what you're doing and what you publicly do. Be quiet, stop talking, and fight the battle quietly. But back to my point is, how does the state of Utah tell a private organization you have to allow SB 54 to rule you? And it wasn't for the Democrats. This bill wasn't to gain power over the Democrats. It was to stay in power with the Republicans. That's what SB 54 was. The GOP in our state should say, listen, legislators, we're not going to honor SB 54. Then the governor is going to say, well, then your elections are illegal. Well, here's the thing. The governor and lieutenant governor should not have anything to do with elections, because they're in the elections. Back to my analogy, the fox in the hen house. The fox is in the hen house. You just don't know it. And sometimes the fox is those legislators that you think are your friends, the ones that sit in the SEC or in your county CCC. They're not your friends. They are the fox. We have meetings in the SEC and we have closed door, phones turned off, no picture taken. But here's the problem. One of the issues that we're talking about are the legislators, and they're sitting in the SEC. So what do you think they're going to do? The public may not know what was going on in the meeting, but guess what? Leadership will on the Hill in Utah. They'll know what we're talking about. Politicians should not be in the SEC. That is an absolute ridiculous thing. As a matter of fact, once you become a legislator, the GOP needs to separate themselves away from you and be the Republican Party, not the Republican Party of the Capitol, just the Republican Party of the people. The problem in Utah is we think we need to be the Republican Party of the Capitol. No, we're not the Republican Party. Once you get there, you exit your ass out of the SEC, the CCC, the ABC, or whatever you want to be involved in. You're out of it. You're a legislator now. And you shouldn't be a delegate. You shouldn't have anything to do with elections once you're elected. I don't know how in the hell somebody thought this was a brilliant idea to let SB 54 pass without a fight. Now, I mean a big fight. I don't know how that ever happened. I don't know how. Well, I do know how, because the legislators want to stay in power. That's how it happened. That's how it happened. So if you want integrity in your elections, let me tell you something right now. Forget about the DEI crap. Forget about critical race theory, because all of that means nothing if you have no integrity in your election. Because if you had integrity in your election and the dirt bags that was in there like Cox that would have been voted out, a lot of the problems we have in our state would be gone. Like, for example, paying $650,000 for a fence around his property, his private property. That tells you there is no integrity in our legislators. And there's, I'm not going to say all legislators. I'm just going to say 99.9. There is no integrity. And stop trying to make these legislators your friends, because that's how they stay in the know. Do you not understand this? Stop trying to make legislators your damn friends. And you keep wondering why you're losing the battle. Why do you think they want to be on the SCC? They accomplished their goal. The SCC is not their high. Look, think about something. If you're a legislator, if you're a senator, and you're a state congressman, being a member of the SCC is a downgrade. They're there for a reason. They are there for a reason. Even Have you noticed most of them are not there in body? They're there in Zoom. Who's in the room with them listening to what's going on in the SEC? How do you know they're not having a block party? Listen to what we're doing in the SEC. Because the legislators seem to have an answer for everything that we do in the SEC. Or you have a chair, in some cases, that's all about the Republican Party, but the Republican Party all about is the one that sit on the Hill. The Republican Party of Utah needs to separate themselves from the Republicans on the Hill. Because at the end of the day, they're the shot callers. And when they call down to somebody that's running the SEC to do certain things or to stay away from certain issues, what do you think that chair is going to do? Because you know why? He's aspiring to be up on the Hill. They're trying to be on the Hill. They're making their contacts with their donors while you're the chair, or you're the vice chair, or you're the secretary, or you're the treasurer. Hell, even if you're, what do you call them, a parliamentarian. You make a great lobbyist as a parliamentarian. But the bottom line, SB 54 is a bad, bad, bad bill. Somebody asked me the other day, do you think we can ever get it removed? And let me tell you, it's never going to get removed as long as people like Deidre Henderson and Spencer Cox are in power. And you got to have a Speaker of the House, and you have to have a President of the Senate that's want it gone. If in Utah, it could be gone, people. It could be gone. All you have to do is get the Speaker of the House, and you get the President of the Senate to go along with it, and the bill is gone. But here's the problem. The reason why it's not gone, because they don't want it gone. They don't want it gone. So that's what you got to understand. The so-called people that you think are your friends are the same ones making that election miserable. Stop hanging out with the legislators because they're not your friends. They are not your friends. And I don't know what it's going to take for people to realize this and say, listen, we're done with the bullshit. We're absolutely done with the bullshit. I'm tired of you telling me it's raining while you're pissing on my back and I'm stupid enough to believe it's raining. At what point do you say, hey, I'm done with it? Look, I can only speak what I believe and what I know. I can't tell you how to vote. Hell, I don't have all the answers. But what I can tell you is what I observed with the state elections and the people that are playing the same game over and over in these elections. That's all I can tell you. I wish I had a magic wand that could change everything and get rid of SB 54, but I can't. And I'm afraid to tell you, it's not likely to go away anytime soon. And I think you know that. Oh, here's another issue that I have with people that hang out with politicians. Stop inviting politicians to your events. Stop inviting politicians to your private events. That's the worst thing you can do. The worst thing you do. And most of you people, a lot of you people that listen to me, I'm not afraid to say it. Stop freaking hanging out with these politicians. Stop inviting them to your event, because this is exactly what you're doing. Let's say, for example, the 4 congressmen that voted for the last Ukraine bill. $62 billion going to Ukraine. Why in the hell would you invite them to an event? People tell me, why would you invite them to an event? Because when you invite them to an event, you've just told everybody and them they did the right thing. You just told them They done the right thing by voting for that. Your conversation should be, no, you're not welcome here. You don't represent us. We want representatives who represent us at our events. You don't represent us. But here's the thing. I'm going to use a phrase that people may not like. I'm sick and tired of the cock chasing. I'm so sick and tired of people saying, oh, yeah, I know Blake Moore. Oh, yeah, I know John Curtis. Oh, yeah, I know Burgess Owens. Hell, I know them all too. But I would never invite them for dinner because I don't approve what they're doing. And I'm not going to invite you somewhere so they think you have my approval of what they were doing. They make millions of dollars while they're in Congress. So you go from $0 to $5 million in 2 to 3 years. Stop inviting them. You take these people and make them earn your time. Make them earn your time. And if you're an individual and you're going to one of these events and somebody's inviting Blake Moore, for example, leave. Leave. Walk out. Walk out. It'll start teaching these damn people in the state. We in Utah, we don't mess around. You screw us, we're going to show you how much disdain we have for you. We're not going to egg your car. We're not going to talk shit to you. We just won't be in your presence. We don't want to hear anything you have to tell us. Because by now, it seems like the people in Utah haven't realized one thing. They just tell you what you want to hear. Oh, he's so sweet. He sounds so Mormon-y when he speaks. God, I just love that fact. It just makes the piss on my back feels a lot colder now. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of everybody and the conservatives. I'm a conservative. And to be conservative is not to be perfect. I'm a conservative, and I'm a constitutional conservative. Look at the bills that I put through or written. They're constitutional based. But I would tell you simply this. Simply this. Some of the soft and weakest people I know are conservatives. You cannot fight a battle trying to be like the other side because that makes you the other side. It's kind of like trying to shoot the bad guy who's trying to hurt you, but you're trying to defend him as well, defend yourself. You can't have it both ways. Something has to give. And in Utah, we are the one that's giving. Look, I don't mean go pew, 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 none of that crap. I don't mean go out blazing saddles, any of that crap. What I mean is that there's a lot of things you can do with your voice. There's a lot of things you can do with your time, and a lot of things you can do with your presence and your vote. Stop being friends with politicians because that's what makes you weak. Realize when they come to your event, it's for their best, not yours. Because when you think about it, let's say a state politician. He's not going to do a damn thing at your event but tell you what you want to hear. Where he needs to show who he is at the Capitol. That's where his ass needs to be representing the people. I don't need you representing me at an event. When you represent us on the Hill, then you can represent us at our events. But if you're not doing that, you can't come to our events. And they will come begging for your attention because you know why? They can't get votes without you. They can't get votes without you. And what they don't want you to do is start voting for, guess who? Grassroots. That's how you get grassroots into office. Quit kissing the ass of those you say you don't care for or you don't like their politics. Stop kissing their ass. Stop inviting them. Oh, God, we had Blake Moore. We had Burgess Owens at our event, and it was fantastic. Okay, your event was fantastic. How's his politics? Oh, it's pretty shitty, but we still want him there anyway. That's how Utah works. That's how Utah works. That's how politics work. And I have politicians that are friends of mine. I really do. But I'm the same exact way with one. I had one politician ask me to endorse something. And I said to him, did you forget who I am? Why in the hell am I going to go for something like that? It says, well, it's trying to unify in unity of, the people here in Utah. No, you want to unify the blacks in this state with the whites. That shouldn't be a bill or a program that makes that happen. It should happen organically. It should happen over a period of time. Politics needs to stay out of it. Needs to stay out of it. If I want to like somebody because they're white or black, that's my choice. I don't need you to tell me that I need some kind of studies to learn that I'm ethnic. As far as I'm concerned, no color on this planet, no race on this planet should ever have an advantage of any other race. Period. Period. We bring politics in too much of our lives, and that's what's absolutely ridiculous. This conversation today has been about voting and elections in the state of Utah. It is corrupt. How do I know it's corrupt? SB 54. What makes it corrupt by SB 54? Because the people that are participating in the election are controlling the game. And if it's truly transparent, then Phil Lyman should not have a problem getting the signatures so he and his people can audit those signatures. I've said this for many, many, many years. Well, 4 years. Why is it we can't audit the signatures when I learned about SB 54? Mind you, I've been in this game for 4 years. For 4 years I've been in this game. And I know this question has arisen many times. This game is corrupt. It is corrupt. What makes it more corrupt is that the legislators, not the Republican Party, which is a private organization, the legislators made it the law in the state of Utah. So this is what I call a private-public partnership, which is illegal. If the state is going to control any portion of the Republican Party, because that's what they're doing, they're controlling a private entity, then damn it, they should pay for it as well. They should be throwing tons of money to it. Tons of money. If they want to play this game, then they need to contribute tons of money to the Republican Party of Utah. If you can't contribute any money, and the GOP of Utah has to raise the money themselves as a private organization, you keep your state legislation bills out of the party. You keep it out of the party and make this damn game fair again. It's not a fair game, and we all know it. And those on the legislative side are listening to this, because I'll be sharing this more than I ever shared a podcast before. And those of you that are listening to me, share this podcast. I want them to get pissed off at me. I want them to know that we are not happy with what's going on in the state of Utah. We know it's rigged. SB 54 is the proof in the pudding. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've got another show to end. The weekend is almost here. I really had to get that off my chest because I'm tired of it. It is an obvious rigged elections in the state of Utah. And I'm going to keep fighting for this and fighting against this as much as I can. So since today is my Thursday, which is my Friday podcasting, I want you guys to enjoy your weekends. Have a great evening. My name is John Harvey, and I'm the host of the Modern Conservative Podcast. Love you all.
This is the Modern Conservative Podcast with John Harvey.